If I asked you what ratio of Bill Gates or Elon Musk's success is as a result of sheer luck or hard work, if you're a bit cynical, you might yell it's pure luck. And if you're a bit optimistic, you might also yell it's pure hard work. Because if it wasn't pure hard work, what's my hope that someday I'm going to be like Elon Musk or Bill Gates? You see, hard work is that predictable within our control side of the equation of success. And in reality, luck is also part of that equation, no matter how we want to ignore that fact. My name is Adegabju David, and if you have been part of the family, welcome back. If you are new here, I'm the Learner's Guide, the host of the podcast called The Talent. For almost a decade right now, I've been a teacher, a writer, and a speaker. And I'm called to raise an army of highly skilled humans by filling the 8 essential buckets of impact. In today's podcast, we'll be filling the mindset bucket. Bill Douglas, a World War II Navy pilot turned high school maths and science teacher, realized that his student had to know about computers before going to college. So after cajoling the school's mothers club to fund the lease of a computer for their school, for the students, for their children, that computer was given to Bill and his 2 friends, where they spent their leisure time with this machine of the future. Here's what I want you to know. Bill Gates went to one of the only high schools in the world as at that time that had a computer. The resulting company, Microsoft, would be impossible without that tiny yet huge flicker of an event. Luck was on his side. Warren Buffett once said that his greatest piece of luck was to be born in the United States of America. So the question then is this: does that mean that I'm out of the figurative race of success because I was born in Nigeria? Well, this is my answer. It depends on what type of luck you are banking your winning on. Luck is not a straitjacket black or white division. It's not something you have or you don't have. It's more of a spectrum, like from shades of black to grey. Dr. James H. Austin did a brilliant exploration of this in his book, Chase, Chance and Creativity, Key Art of Novelty. In his book, he outlines the different shades of luck. We'll be talking about the types of luck that are outside our control and the types of luck that are within our control. If you are liking this video so far, kindly hit the like button to help this podcast reach more people. The very first type of luck that is outside our control is the blind luck, and it encompasses the orchestration of our lives, events and circumstances that are not necessarily within our control. This is where you were born, who you were born to, your abilities, your disabilities, your advantages, your disadvantages, everything that you don't take an active part in deciding. This is the type of luck that applies at the beginning of the podcast that I gave. For Warren, it was where he was born, the United States of America. For Bill, it was the circumstances and his abilities. You see, Bill and his friends were not the only students in the school. The computer was given to them because of their curiosity. The circumstances of the Bill Douglas cajoling the mother school club and their abilities combined together and gave them this blind luck that was working in their favor. Another form of luck that came in favor of Warren was his daddy giving him the book 1000 Ways to Make Money at the age of 7. This is my conclusion about this type of luck. Yes, it is outside our control, no doubt. But the interpretation and the direction we make about this luck is within our control. It means that everyone has this set of luck that fits your personal fate arrangement. This week, I was watching the Nigerian chess grandmaster's video, Tunde Onakoya, his success and his teaching chess to children in the slums. Then it struck me. You see, his journey from growing up in the slums, dropping out of school, and becoming curious about the chess game, and then returning back to the slum to teach children like himself, was crucial. The so-called unfavorable blind luck that occurred worked together to bring him to the current luck that is happening in his life. You see, there's no way I would be able to pull that off because the arrangements of my own blind luck would not favor that. This ties in with the concept of the unfair advantage. You should surely check the book out. The arrangement of this blind luck that is outside of our control, fair or unfair, provides an initial advantage. I want you to think of it as this. Think of it as your circumstances and your birthplace granting you the opportunity for high intelligence. Let us use that for example. Let us say maybe it sets you up on the path of becoming a doctor. That's an advantage at the beginning, but that doesn't guarantee success at the ending, right? Because you need more than just the blind luck at the beginning. You need to put in the effort, you need to put in the time. And this then leads us to this next set of luck that is within our control. The first of this type of luck is the motion luck. This type of luck stems from the careful daily exploration of curiosity formed into learning acts. It's a product of persistence and dealing with failures without worrying about them. I love the way Naval puts it. It's almost like mixing a petri dish and seeing what combines, or mixing a bunch of reagents and seeing what combines. You are generating enough force and hustle and energy that know-how, luck will find you. Follow me with this example. A poetry teacher had 2 classes. In one class, students aimed to produce one top quality pot by the end of the quarter, and in the other class, they focused on producing as many pots as possible without worrying about the quality. At the end of the quarter, the teacher gathered these 2 sets of students, and the teacher found out that the group that produced a pot daily not only had a larger quantity, but the quality of their pot significantly improved compared to the group that just focused on one single pot. The moral of the story and how it ties to luck. Luck is a product of consistent production without fixating on immediate perfection. Share that if you would. It's the same ideology with an athlete. Let us take Usain Bolt for example. Yes, he had the blind luck at the beginning. We can say it's genetics, his looks, his strength, the events that drove him to decide, I want to become an athlete. But his continuous application of motion luck, convenient or not convenient, motivated or not motivated, has cumulatively led him to winning gold medals. His daily input of motion luck has increased his likelihood of success. Imagine you have a bag, and in that bag you have 20 balls, and you start with 1 red ball and 19 black balls. You are to choose at random a red ball. The probability of choosing the red ball is 1/20, which is 0.05, and that is quite low. But if I had a red ball daily for 30 days, the probability of choosing a red ball increases to 31 out of 50, and then that becomes 0.62, right? A bit higher. But if I continue for 60 days, the probability of choosing a red ball becomes 61 out of 80, which is 0.725. For 90 days, it is 91 out of 110, which is 0.872. You see, by consistently adding a red ball, I increase the probability of me experiencing luck. You see, that's the secret. Rather than passively waiting or complaining about the impact of blind luck, you are consistently taking action. This is you as a graphics designer posting about your crappy work daily. As a web designer taking jobs that don't pay well at the beginning because you want to stack motion luck in your favor. This is you as a writer writing and posting every day, no matter how crude and naive and not so-called viral your writing pieces. This is you as a video creator, as a content creator like I am, recording videos every day. This is you as a business person talking about your product every day on your status without worrying about if people are going to buy or not. Because when that customer needs it, when the thought of, okay, I need a shirt, who do they think of? They think of you because you have been on their mind for so many times. It is the motion luck that is in our control that we have invested enough, mind my word, enough, that the probability of anybody choosing us goes higher, like the example I gave. This leads us to the next shade of luck that is within our control, the awareness luck. In the year 1928, Scottish researcher Sir Alexander Fleming left his lab in a hurry to attend a 2-week vacation, and when he was back from that vacation, he came to his lab and found out that one of the petri dishes of staphylococci was dead. When it was rushing off to vacation, it left one of those petri dishes open. If I showed you that petri dish right now, as at then, would you have been able to come up to any conclusion why the staphylococci was dead? The answer is no, right? Why? Because you don't have the specific knowledge that Fleming had applicable to the field of microbiology that allows you to come up with such a conclusion. The conclusion Fleming made led to the making of penicillin, and that was revolutionary in the idea of medicine. You see, getting the full juice of lock was as a result of years of preparation for Fleming. By the time you begin to apply motion lock and you're acquiring the skills by putting up the rep, motion lock enables you to develop an acute sense of what works and doesn't work. We become a powerhouse in our field, like Fleming became a powerhouse in his field. Imagine a new client approaches you to create a website capable of handling a school's activity. So that is payments, exams, report cards, etc. You complete that task in record time so well because you have put in enough motion lock that you already know what works and doesn't work. And so if you are sensitive, you begin to realize that a lot of schools might need the same services, and leveraging your success of the initial client, you can get a testimonial and expand your reach to more schools. Before long, you are working with about 50 to 100 schools, and a beginner would say, "Oh my God, you got so lucky." Yes, you got lucky. You got lucky by spotting an opening that beginners will never spot, because you have improved your skill and lock spotting ability through stacking up enough reps by taking jobs that don't pay well, or even jobs that don't even pay at all. The depth of understanding that you have acquired in your place of powerhouse has allowed you to position yourself so when lucky breaks happen, you are there. As Solomon said, time and chance amples to them all. But you cannot seize the opportunities without the skill and the foresight to recognize and pursue that time and when the chance comes. A very good example I can give is during the pandemic. Zoom had the motion lock in their favor. They have placed their brand enough times in the eye of the people. And so when the pandemic hit and the need for online video communication, online video conferencing came about, who did we think of? Who did you think of? I hope you know Zoom was not the only video conferencing tool before pandemic. If I'm to ask you again, as we round up, what determines your success? Is it hard work or luck? What's your choice? In this podcast episode, I'm interested about making you see that luck is far more in your control than you think of. And luck is also part of the equation of success than you don't want to regard. Blind luck is a piece, but a trivial piece, because it's the interpretation we give this piece that determines its perceived value. Imagine if Joseph had said, "Oh, blind luck is not working in my favor by my brothers wanting to sell me." And he collapsed his life and became so depressed and became so not wanting to put things into action and say, "Oh, life is not working in my favor. What will I do?" He wouldn't see Potiphar's house and the prison as a training ground for his skill of leadership. By the time he got to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh needed interpretation for his dream, I hope you know that God never told him the solution to the problems of Pharaoh. God never told him that. God told him by the skill of interpretation of dreams that he has acquired, the meaning of the dream, but through the leadership skill that he has sharpened well enough in Pharaoh and the prison, he could be able to come up with a solution. A beginner banking on blind luck will find problems, but an expert acquiring and developing his motion lock and awareness lock becomes a solution provider. We have come to the end of this podcast episode, the very first podcast episode, but not the end of seeing me, right? Subscribe to the newsletter, The Talents, and follow on all social media platforms for daily content separate from this podcast. If you're a beginner content creator in Nigeria, check out my second YouTube channel where I show my work and share my progress like Austin Clon says. All links are in the description below.